Is Avengers Doomsday doomed? Marvel fans, we know that the MCU has been on a downward trajectory for quite a while now since Endgame. And I agree, I just have perhaps different reasons for feeling so. I'm going to cover phases 4 through 6 in an overview of kind of a low-light reel as well as a highlight reel on some of the extreme bad and good stuff that has come out in the past 7 years, and give you a bit on Doomsday. So, Avengers Doomsday, coming out in 2026, December 18th. There's been a lot of hype around this movie, but there's also been a lot of disappointments along the way leading up to it. The MCU, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, began back in 2008 with Iron Man, and subsequently they came out with Captain America's solo film, Hulk, as well as Thor, and it culminated in the first ever crossover event with this many movies being the Avengers. Phase 2 built upon these characters' stories, added in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Phase 3 introduced some more characters, culminating in the epic conclusion in Infinity War and the Part 2, Endgame. Overall, the Infinity Saga was very entertaining and many people enjoyed it. However, toward the end, things started to get a little tainted. Captain Marvel was introduced in 2019, and her film did very well. However, the sequel, The Marvels, did not perform very well. The first film was hyped up as an essential film to watch in order to be educated on the events of Avengers Endgame. A lot of fans were happy that she didn't have too much screen time within Endgame, being that a major player was introduced with powers that far exceeded many of the other Avengers, and it would have been a shame to see her show up randomly with no notice and suddenly win the fight against Thanos. Also, if you go back and watch my film review of Captain Marvel back in 2019, you know how I felt, that it was a mediocre film. In a few short years after Avengers Endgame, in Phase 4, they oversaturated the market with way too many projects and decided to go heavy in the quantity but low in the quality. And a lot of, honestly, low quality content and garbage was released. You had the woke twerking She-Hulk, the woke Falcon and the Winter Soldier scene.
Sincerely, you did your part in dealing with those terrorists, now we'll do ours. Are you still going forward with resetting the borders?
Our peacekeeping troops will begin relocating people soon. The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
There were still people in there.
This is the only language these people understand.
Does this remind you of anything else?
We have more information for you tonight on the fatal shooting in South Minneapolis last night that killed a Minneapolis police officer.
These labels, terrorist, refugee, thug, they're often used to get around the question why. I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes.
You had the Black Widow film that came out way too late and wasn't really about Black Widow, and we never even found out what she did in Budapest.
Just like Budapest all over again.
You and I remember Budapest very differently.
A long way from Budapest.
Then the Hawkeye show came out, and it wasn't really about him either.
Can I tell you a secret?
Please don't do this.
I was talking to an Avenger. He's in my ear.
Maybe you should stop talking.
Then we had the really dark and honestly satanic sequel to Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where possessing yourself with demons is portrayed to be a good thing, and the Illuminati is also good.
You are now called before the Illuminati. I, Baron Karl Mordo, the Sorcerer Supreme. Captain Carter. Blackagar Boltagun, Keeper of the Terrigen Mists. Captain Marvel, Defender of the Cosmos. Reed Richards, of the Fantastic Four. Professor Charles Xavier.
We also had the weird film, The Eternals, which is essentially bad Book of Enoch.
And there is a weird story introduced where this one character who looks like a 12-year-old likes this guy who appears to be like 38. Technically, they're both 7,000 years old, so everything's fine. But It makes you question, what are they trying to push?
Then we had Ironheart that promoted homosexuality.
More BLM.
They actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Among other things.
I need cash, money.
Somehow her character knew how to create Iron Man's suit solely on her own.
Not to mention that her suit is later powered by Zelma's pretty much pentagram magic.
We had Ant-Man Quantumania, which had unimpressive CGI.
Surprised to see me?
As well as Thor Love and Thunder, which had the same issues in various parts of the film. Then there's Captain America Brave New World,
which is originally going to be called Captain America New World Order.
A New World Order.
There's not much to say about this one, it was pretty mid. Another show that recently released was called Daredevil Born Again.
Why are we calling Daredevil Born Again? That refers to biblical terminology that means you have been born again by the Spirit and you now know Christ. This may be a play on words, being that Matt Murdock, the true identity of Daredevil, is a Catholic within the show. However, it seems a little sinister. And the extremely blasphemous and grotesque Deadpool and Wolverine.
There are multiple blasphemies throughout this film, but this one is the most explicit, where it directly alludes to multiple passages in scripture, one of which here talks about Jesus being crucified on the hill called Golgotha, which means the hill of the skull. This isn't to say that Marvel's phases 1, 2, and 3 were completely without issue. They definitely had their problems, but the overtness and severity of these problems has been dialed up.
There were some good exceptions though. Hey, just gonna stop you for a minute. I sacrifice a lot of my free time to edit these videos, to do all the research, and to film this stuff, and I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. Just do a little bit to help this channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. Thanks. Now return to the rant. Since 2019, we've seen Marvel's What If that's had 4 seasons. I've watched season 1 and I found it pretty entertaining seeing the different alternate realities of characters we've seen on screen with more impressive roles. I watched the first season of Loki and it was a decent show. There were some unfortunate moments in it. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was another pleasant surprise. Spider-Man No Way Home was a decent film, culminating all of the Spider-Man stories of Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland all into one film. There were some issues with the story, like why Aunt May thought it was Peter's fault that people in other realities where they had other Spider-Man, that he was responsible to morally fix them. But I did like this arc overall in the Spider-Man movies where Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and No Way Home all show him building his skills over time and finally becoming competent as Spider-Man, which hopefully he's finally competent in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're all hoping for that, and that seems to be the case. Now, I love the Spider-Man movies, but there's problems with all of the movies in the Spider-Man Home series. Spider-Man Homecoming, there's a scene where Ned is helping Spider-Man remotely from a computer lab, and then this happens.
Just keep trying to get through to Happy.
It's been an honor, Spider-Man.
What are you doing here? There's a dance.
I'm looking at porn.
Now, why did they put that in the film? It's because they're trying to normalize pornography consumption among teenagers. And this plays out through all of the films. You have suggestive scenes in the first film where Peter gets caught wearing barely any clothes.
Maybe put on some clothes.
As well as in the second film, this also happens.
No, don't.
Sorry? I thought this was the bathroom.
This is not what it looks like, just...
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Twice. There's also a line in this film, normalizing pornography consumption as well, when it refers back to the first film that took place during Captain America Civil War, when Peter was in a hotel preparing to fight with the Avengers at the airport. And while he was in the hotel, he rented a XXX movie that his friend Happy found out about.
Tell me something only you would know!
Only I would know. Remember we went to Germany? You pay-per-viewed a video in your room? They didn't list the titles, but I could tell by the price it was an adult film at the front desk, and you didn't know how I knew?
Okay, fine, it's you, stop!
And this is offhand mentioned. Then in Spider-Man No Way Home, this odd comment about web coming out of other areas is mentioned offhand when all three Spider-Men meet up and they're about to fight all of their foes.
So you make your own web fluid in your body?
I'd rather not talk about this.
Like, does it just come out of your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else?
Only the wrists.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man Home series movie unless Peter Parker was yet again caught in his own.
You're so awkward about sex.
Look, I'm really feeling like
This
I
has
should be
nothing
a
to
part
do
of
with
this
sex.
conversation.
And unfortunately, as predicted, the new Spider-Man movie also has another scene that tries to normalize this as well. After a bit of research, since Brand New Day has been shown to some audiences, there's a suggestive scene where Yelena invites Spider-Man over to have a conversation, to which she strips naked and asks him to strip to his undergarments. And then they have a conversation in the pool because she does all her business meetings like this. Because that way I can tell whether my people I'm talking to have any weapons on them. And then it also lets us have a good soak. This is not normal behavior for anybody, and we all know this. So these scenes present throughout all four Spider-Man films says something. The industry is trying to push this. And probably the best film that came out since 2019 in the MCU was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. However, if you look at some of the things that James Gunn has said and done over the years, it's a bit questionable what's going on behind the scenes.
James Gunn did come out with an apology, but if you look at some of these statements, you gotta admit, they're pretty odd, and even normal comedians don't go to these depths, especially considering all of the EP file stuff that came out.
Like he might be a PDF file. I liked the first film, the second I really didn't. I felt that there was a lot of dark humor in it that was unnecessary, especially in the scene where the arrow's flying through, piercing all of these bad guys. I think there's a lot of films that are trying to desensitize us to mass murdering. And Deadpool and Wolverine also speaks to this at the beginning of the film when Deadpool goes on a massacre, killing all those workers of the TVA. Scenes of mass murder are scored to delightful songs that distract us from how brutal the violence is that we're witnessing. In Avengers, the Kang Dynasty was announced back in 2022. Jonathan Majors is going to play Kang as he showed up in Ant-Man Quantumania. However, there was a lot of messy situation regarding his trial in real life, so he was fired by Disney. But what I was surprised to find out is that they didn't recast him. The whole point of Kang's character is that there were different Kangs from different realities in the multiverse that were fighting one another and then would eventually get whittled down to less and fight the Avengers. So why didn't they just hire somebody else to play Kang, who you could say was a different Kang variant that was essentially the same character, but a different visual look? I think it would have been a lot more simple to keep the story they were building with, but cast a different actor.
Initially, the order of films was going to be Avengers Kang Dynasty, then Avengers Secret Wars, but they decided to cancel Kang Dynasty, replace it with Avengers Doomsday, and put off Secret Wars.
The Kang Dynasty was going to be directed by the same guy who directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, so I was actually looking forward to it. On July 27th, 2024, it was announced that Robert Downey Jr. would be playing Victor Von Doom, or Dr. Doom, in Avengers Doomsday. Initially, the release for Avengers Doomsday was going to be May 2026, then it was pushed back to December 18th, 2026. Apparently, the film has undergone many re-edits of the script during filming. Now, just recently, as of a few weeks ago, it has been announced that Marvel will be re-releasing Avengers Endgame come September of 2026, and they're going to be adding new footage. Now, what does this new footage mean? Are they going to create an alternate universe where some events that happened in Avengers Endgame have been changed so that a branch reality is created, or are they going to retcon it? Retcon meaning retroactive continuity. And Robert Downey Jr. announced recently at Comic-Con that they would be going back to Phase Zero and seeking to earn fans' trust again in this clip.
We can't beat it, we can't stand on the shoulders of these giants of Infinity War and Endgame, so we're literally zeroing out the board and we're going to try to earn your trust and respect all over again, and with the likes of these fellas, I think we got a pretty good shot.
So what does this Phase Zero mean? Will it be a retcon, or will it be an alternate reality?
And now, just a few days ago, the Avengers Doomsday first trailer came out, in addition to the teasers we had a bunch of months ago. And to be honest, it looks pretty good. But knowing Marvel's track record, can we trust them on this movie?
Is there hope for Marvel? Do you think that the little films we've seen come out that have been good in the past 6-7 years means that there's hope on the horizon? Do you think Spider-Man Brand New Day will actually be good that's coming out this summer? Is there hope for this Avengers Endgame retcon or alternate reality film? And will Doomsday be good or be the doom and death of Marvel? Tell me what you think down in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos where I analyze films that are currently coming out and such, let me know. What is your favorite MCU movie? What do you think about Avengers Doomsday? Do you think there's hope on the horizon or death? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps out this channel, and I sacrifice a lot of my free time editing and filming and planning and researching all these projects that I put out on YouTube, and I'd really appreciate your support.